Hey everyone, hope you're all well. Welcome back to our channel, and in today's video I am going to share the top 20 web development blogs and podcasts that you should follow in 2023. These resources will help you stay up to date on the latest trends, learn new techniques, and get inspired for your own projects. So without further ado, let's begin. So first up, a few blogs. The first one that we have is Smashing Magazine. So Smashing Magazine is a well-known web development and design blog that publishes high-quality articles on a wide range of topics, including front-end development, back-end development, UI, UX, and web performance. It's great resources for developers of all skill levels, from beginners to experts. And you can see it's really well designed, so you can really pick through each topic that you want to learn more about. Next up, we have dzone, and dzone is another top web development blog that covers a wide range of topics, including programming languages, frameworks, tools, and best practices. It also features interviews with industry leaders and articles on career development, specifically in the web and engineering sector. Next up, we have the CodePen blog. So the CodePen blog is another great resource for front-end developers with articles on CSS, HTML, and JavaScript, and other front-end technologies. It also features tutorials, code snippets, and inspiration for web design. You might be familiar with CodePen to test out certain code blocks as well, but they also have a blog section where you can really go through and see the latest in CSS techniques, best practices, and common problems. Next up, we have CSS Tricks, and CSS Tricks is a popular blog for CSS and web standard enthusiasts. It features in-depth articles on CSS techniques specifically, best practices, and common problems. Next up, we have the David Walsh blog. So the David Walsh blog is a great resource for JavaScript developers. It features articles on JavaScript fundamentals, advanced topics, and new features as well. Everything's really easy to kind of navigate through, and they're really well updated as well, so definitely give this one a go, especially if you want to update and upskill yourself in JavaScript. Next up, we have the John Reisig blog, and this is a must-read for JavaScript developers. He is the creator of the jQuery library, and his blog features articles on JavaScript internals, libraries, and best practices, so definitely give this one a read if you want to upskill yourself in JavaScript as well. Next up, we have the Paul Irish blog, and the Paul Irish blog is just another great resource for JavaScript developers. Paul Irish is a member of the Google Chrome team, and his blog features articles on JavaScript performance, new features, and best practices as well. Next up, we have Simple Programmer, and this is a blog for developers of all skill levels with articles on a wide range of topics, including programming languages, frameworks, tools, and career development as well. Next up, we have A List Apart, and this is a blog that focuses on the design, development, and meaning of web content. It features articles on web standards, best practices, and the future of web as well. Next up, we have Code Drops, and this is a blog for web developers and designers with articles on front-end and development, UI, UX design, and web performance. It also features a lot of tutorials, code snippets, and inspiration for web design. Next up, we have Code Newbie, and this is a great blog for beginners, especially if you're just starting to learn how to code. There's a lot of articles on the basics of programming, and there's also learning resources and career advice as well. So now let's look at some podcasts. The first one that we have is Syntax, and this is a weekly podcast hosted by Wes Bowes and Scott Tilinsky, two really popular web developers and instructors as well. And the podcast covers a wide range of development topics, from front-end development and to back-end development to web performance as well. Next up, back to Codeland. So not only do they have a blog, but they also have a podcast as well. And again, it's for beginners who are just starting to learn how to code. They have interviews with experienced developers, as well as tips and advice for learning to code for the first time as well. PodRocket is a weekly podcast for web developers with interviews with industry leaders and articles on new technologies, trends, and best practices as well. Another popular podcast is Shop Talk, and this is a weekly podcast for web developers with interviews with experienced developers and discussions about the latest web development and trends and technologies. Next up, we have Coding Blocks, and this is a really popular weekly podcast for web developers, and they have interviews with experienced developers and discussions about the latest web development trends and technologies. Next up, we have Web Dev Simplified, and this is another blog. This blog is great for beginners with articles on the basics of web development as well as tutorials and code snippets as well. Next up, we have The Web Ahead, and this blog covers the latest in web development trends and technologies, as well as interviews with industry leaders as well. Next up, we have Specky Boy, and this blog is more design focused, but it does cover some web development topics like front-end development and UI UX. But if you're looking for more design, this is definitely one for you. You can browse by topic and you can see which one really works for whichever one that you want. This blog is a great resource for learning about web development from one of the world's largest tech companies. So they have blogs on different parts of the web engineering process. So definitely a really fun one to look at as well. Next up, we have a podcast called The Bike Shed, and this is hosted by Chris Toomey and features conversations with developers about their experiences and challenges as well. Next up, we have Full Stack Radio, and this podcast covers a wide range of web development topics from front-end development to back-end development to DevOps as well. This podcast is called Software Engineering Daily, and they interview software engineers about their work and the latest trends in the industry as well. This is another design resource. So this podcast is called Talking Design, and it's hosted by Dan Olson and features conversations with designers about their work and the latest trends in the industry as well. Next up, this is Developer Tea, and this podcast is hosted by Michael Kennedy, and it features conversations with developers about their work and the latest trends in the industry as well. Next up, we have CSS Wizardry, and this is a blog written by Harry Roberts, and he's a CSS expert and the creator of the popular CSS animation library anime.js. So on this blog, you'll find in-depth articles on CSS techniques, best practices, and common problems as well. This is the Mozilla Developer Network, and it's a great resource for learning about web development from the makers of the Firefox browser. It features articles, tutorials, and reference documents on a wide range of web development topics. Next up, we have web.dev, and this is a website created by Google that provides resources for learning about web development, as well as tools for testing and optimizing websites as well. And this is Free Code Camp. So Free Code Camp is a non-profit organization that provides free online education in web development. It also features a blog with articles, tutorials on a wide range of web development topics as well. So if you are just starting out on web development and you come into any issues, this might be a good blog to check out because there's lots of troubleshooting blogs on this as well. And last up, we have the Profile Tree blog as well. So here at Profile Tree, we're constantly learning about new tools and tech and applying them in our real life work. We have loads of blogs out here for web development, web design, web hosting, things like that. So definitely check out our website and give us a look as well, because there's loads of blogs on there about web development and latest trends in the industry as well. And that's it. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video or you have any comments or questions, leave them in the section below, and I'll see you in the next one.